when you submit it to Apple, they have 24 hours, like blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, do we want to get in the weeds like this?
Yeah, it's only a one-time thing. So let's gut it out. This is from the perspective of you're early in your podcast journey. What do people need to know about the publishing side?
It's the one technical thing maybe I would go down, because I remember when I was starting to publish the first podcast I did, and we started doing research, and I actually had an intern, and I asked them to research some of this stuff, and they were like, you need to use this separate hosting platform. And I was like, that can't be right. What are you talking about? I don't even understand. It's something on Apple. It is a little confusing. The one service that you need to pay for, or some of them are free, but you do need a service, which is where you put your audio content and it gets distributed to all the other places. And it's, once it's set up, it's pretty automatic. They're built for that. But that is the one kind of technical piece that you need to put in place that may not be intuitive.
I appreciate that. And I have even gotten inquiries from potential clients. And when I went to look on their website, it was clear. I mean, you can do view source on a website, right click, view source. I always do this just because it's fun. And I could tell that they were using their website host to host their podcast files. This is a big no-no. And if you're like, why are we so in the weeds on this? Here's why it's a problem. If you are uploading your podcast files to GoDaddy, there's a couple issues, or whatever your host is. I'm just using that as an example. Here's the issue. It's against the terms and conditions usually to be loading files of that size. Part 2 of this issue is what you're saying, Marion. It's not easy to connect that file.
It's a lot harder. It's a lot more work.
To the RSS feed that then gets your show out to the place where people listen. And so this particular potential client, they were like, well, I don't know why we're not on Apple. I'm like, well, because
you're like, where do I even begin?
And there's so many steps behind that. So yes, like you're saying,
yeah, like,
oh boy, I just snorted. So how do you get them there? Well, folks, you want to host, which is, here's a few. Libsyn, use the code JOY and you get a free month.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, affiliate.
Buzzsprout's a great one. Acast is another.
Or Anchor or Captivate.
Captivate's, that's the one I was trying to think of.
So use one of those. And then, like you said, the thing that puzzled me the most when I was brand new baby podcaster, Paula, 7 years ago was, how do I get then Libsyn out to Apple? That is the only thing that confused me. Let's just say this again in the weeds. Apple does not host your files. There is no actual podcast that lives at Apple. They are linking out through what's called an RSS feed, which is like real simple service or something. It pulls the files from Libsyn, and then the guy over at Apple, the gal over at Apple that's hitting play, they're getting the file from Libsyn or Anchor.
Yeah. And same with Spotify, and same with Google Podcast app. Wherever you're listening to it is just pulling a reference from that original file.
The big server that's set up to do content distribution. That's your friend. Do not put it on your GoDaddy website.
And do not pay someone extra.
Bingo.